questions if I could. Number one, my daughter, she's a young woman. They always talk about putting on sunblock. She wants to know, from her point of view, if she puts sunblock on her face but walks around in the summer, down the streets doing her regular everyday stuff with shorts and a T-shirt, but no sunblock on, her legs or her arms, just on her face to protect from wrinkles and all that. Is she going to absorb enough vitamin D? Does it go through a T-shirt? How much? She doesn't want to leave her face exposed to the sun because what they talk about.
All right, let me get Dr. Hoffman in.
Yeah. I have another question after.
I'll point out to you that there's some amazing statistics from states like Arizona and Florida about the degree of vitamin D deficiency, precisely because people shun the sun, and when they go out, they're smearing themselves with sunscreen. So that just going out like that is not an insurance policy for getting adequate vitamin D. I'll also point out there are actually some things you can take internally, like internal sunscreens. Studies have shown that by taking a dollop of tomato paste, which is rich in lycopene, on a daily basis for several weeks, you can minimize photo damage from sunlight. The lycopene is very effective. Also, a recent study shows that niacinamide, which is a B vitamin, 500 milligrams of niacinamide taken for a year reduced the incidence of skin cancers by 20% in an Australian population. I think there are actually some ways that you can get an internal sunscreen-like effect.
All right, let me jump in a little bit because, as you mentioned, Dr. Goodman, in medical school we don't learn a lot about these vitamins, and so there are a lot of studies, and depending on what you pick, there are some observational studies and very few randomized studies. So, for example, they looked at about 87,000 female nurses that took vitamin E, and they thought in the observational study, reducing heart disease by 30%, but when they randomized those studies, there was no real effect to this. Vitamin A, taking large amount of vitamin A, they thought that it reduces lung cancer. They randomized it, follow up for 4 years. In fact, it increased the lung cancer. Right. So, Dennis, are we picking the kind of studies that we want, and we sort of talk about some of the benefit of these vitamins that could be not purposely deceiving the public, or do we just don't have enough and good randomized study to find out what's the effect of vitamins?
It's a great question, David. I hope you don't mind, but I just want to go back to your listener because I think it's so great that we have listeners and they call in with a question. My feeling, there's no problem covering your face, putting the suntan lotion on your face and putting a hat on, because we don't want, the effects of skin damage on your face. So I just want you to know, for my vote would be, expose other parts of your body. You don't have your face exposed. So I don't know about Dr. Hoffman agrees with that, but that would be what I would tell
I would
somebody.
agree. Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back, because you're asking a brilliant question, which is, why is it that supplements in general have a very bad name? Would you agree with me, David? What happens is every time there's a negative study, there it is in the medical journals, it's all over the newspaper, it's in the press. They love to come out and say these things don't work. Right, because he has this study and that study. Because when we try to do big double-blind randomized studies with supplements, it's extremely difficult to prove anything. There's so many variables in anything that we're trying to look at that when you try to start to say, well, is it the vitamin E, is it the C, it's the E, it's very, very difficult. So we get a whole lot of variable results. And when it comes out negative, then everybody gets to hear about it. And it is looking like there's certain things that when you take them in high doses don't do as well. Like vitamin E over 500 units may actually contribute to heart disease.
Right.
Vitamin A in high doses seem to increase the risk of lung cancer. So we get nervous, right? And then we start to say, oh, now all supplements are bad. But when you look overall, and I myself, you come back, you asked me a question, there's certain things that I think are crucial. I hope we get to talk about magnesium, where the body, there's so many observational studies showing that magnesium makes a huge difference.